Here's a short video on how to sample in Logic Pro X. Sampling's great because you can take an audio file that's pre-recorded audio, or you can record your own, and then you can break that sound out onto a MIDI keyboard or trigger it with MIDI data by loading it up into a software instrument. So the software instrument that we use in Logic Pro X is called the ESX24. So I'm going to actually create a new software instrument track. Here's a blank track. I've got the info pane open on the left hand side, so I can actually, it'll show me the track that I have highlighted plus the master bus. So right here, if I fold this up, I can see this is where I load my instruments, and I can choose an ESX24. So I'm going to grab a stereo version of that, and this is the blank sort of canvas here. And if I want to start sampling, I need an audio file to load up in that. So traditionally, if we didn't have a sampler, you may have done this. Like, I've got a kick drum and I've also got a bass hit here. You might have just dragged in a kick drum like so from your desktop, or loaded it through the file browser here. And then you can see, if I zoom in there, I've got a kick drum hit. Let's have a quick listen to that. And then, you know, in a traditional DAW, you would copy that and paste the kick drum and create your composition, you know, as such. But just having the audio there, there's a lot more things you can do with it if you've loaded it up into a sampler, such as being able to have it as MIDI so that it will change tempo if you change the track tempo, and also you can manipulate it with pitch bends and the pitch easily as well. So here is my ESX24. It's as simple as clicking the edit button there, which is just to the right hand side of where you load your presets, and then this is where we load our samples, and we can actually have multi-zone samples if we want. So first of all, we actually need a zone. There's no zone, so that's the first thing. There's really, once you're at this point, there's only really a couple of steps. You just go to zone and do a new zone, and that's just created a zone all the way from C-2 all the way up to C sort of B8 or G8. So I don't want the range to be that big. I just want it to go from C0 C to maybe B6 or B5 will do, just because I don't have a very big keyboard. But if I wanted to load multiple samples up, I could create multiple zones. I could actually create a zone for each key and load a separate sample. So that's how some of the really expensive, really high-end, say it was an actual sample of a sampled instrument of a Bosendorfer grand piano, they would actually have a separate sample for every key. So it would be, you know, if it was an 88 key keyboard, they would have 88 separate zones. But in this instance, I just want to take a single sample, and I'm going to load it here. Zone 1, I'm going to load the audio sample, and on my desktop I've got this kick here, and you can play the sample from this screen as well. So if you're going through like sample packs, you can hear what you got. So I should be able to hit C. See here, I've got the key C3, so that if I hit C3, that should be the original pitch. So actually I might just hit if I can remember the shortcut, Command K. I don't have a MIDI keyboard plugged in, but this is like a MIDI keyboard that you can play with the keyboard on your computer. So the A is C2. If I go up a octave, there we go. So this is the octave shifter. But you can see we can straight away get multiple pitches. And then it's as simple as just closing this, and when it asks you to save, you save that. So I'm going to call that my dance kick, something along those lines. So now that's a preset that I can load up in the ESX 24, and if I want to record some MIDI, I can just do that. So I just need to bring that keyboard back so that when I hit the keys, we're not actually what's going on? I have no idea. Here we go. I was on the audio track. Okay, so there we are. I'm just going to record on this track here. And then if I double click on this region here, I should bring up the piano roll, and those are the MIDI blobs. So I can quantize them if I want. 16th notes, I think I've got it on at the moment. Hit that Q, so that will just snap them to the closest grid line. And then if I actually want to if I want to change the tempo of the track, this will change. See how it's playing a lot faster but in the same configuration. So that's one major benefit, having the pitch and the velocity and all those kinds of things. And now once you've got it in a software instrument, you can treat it as if it was an audio track, because the software instrument tracks in Logic, you can load up audio effects, whatever you want, reverb, delay, you can throw them to a send. I don't have any sends set up, but that's just one way of doing it. But let's say you want to sample a melodic instrument, so I'm just going to create another software instrument track, load up an ESX 24, and then do the same thing. Hit edit, get a new zone. I'm just going to have the zone across the entire keyboard here. Load the instrument. Here's the audio sample. I've got actually a bass, like a big room dance bass there. So if I hit my keyboard, so that's a really simple way, and you can actually, if you double click on that, you do have some ability to edit, like if you had some space at the front of your audio file that you need to get rid of, you can edit the sample from there. There's plenty more things you can do. This is just quite a basic tutorial, so I'm going to save that as bass, and now I'm going to actually make a little composition with my two sampled instruments here. Just like a 4 on the floor kind of dance thing here. If I get my little pencil, I can just draw it in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should be 4 on the floor. Yep. I'm going to bring this down to 110. Command C, Command V. Now I've got a 2-bar loop there. I can Command C and Command V that one. Well, what happens when we record here? So there we go, and if I double click on that, I already had it up, so that was what I was playing there. I can select that and quantize. There were some incorrect notes there, so that's how you can easily grab samples that you have in audio and then be able to throw them into MIDI land, and you can do so much with this. And I'm just going to quickly also record my own voice here, and I will show you how you can do a pitch bend. So I'm going to record here. Let's go mute these two tracks. This is a sample. This is a really long sample. Okay, I'm actually going to redo that very quickly and grab. Oh no, that's fine. I'll just. This is a. It's got it as a stereo track here, so I'm just going to quickly delete that. Quickly create a new audio track. Here we go, and this is a really long sample. This is a really long sample. So I've sampled my voice there, and then what I'm going to do is pop the loop region to the same length as that sample. Solo this. I already pretty much had it soloed because the other tracks were muted, and I'm just going to bounce project or selection. I'm going to bounce out just a WAV file of that and put it on the desktop. And then now that I should have an audio file of that on the desktop, so I can create another software instrument, the ESX24 stereo, and I'm going to actually load that, make a new zone first, and then load that audio file that I just recorded. This is a really long sample. Okay. Now, let's have a listen to what we got. This is a really long.
This is a really long. This is a really long. This is a really long.
So we've got this is a really long. That sample. Now we're able to play that on the MIDI keyboard. So let me record a little bit of that. This is a really long sample.
This is a really long sample.
I've got the loop range on here, so it started loop recording, which I don't want. I might bring these other tracks online again, do something to the beat. This is a really long sample.
This is a really long sample.
This is a really long sample. Okay. I actually didn't like that. I'm just going to get rid of that, but let's have a listen to what we've got. This is a really long sample.
This is a really.
And you can even make chords if you want.
This
is a
really long sample.
So this is you can do anything you want, but sometimes it's really cool to be able to, if I hit this automation, I can access these MIDI functions here. So one of these is pitch bend, and you can pitch bend a note that you've created from a sample and get this kind of effect. This is a really long sample. So that pitch bend range is just one tone at the moment, I'm fairly certain. So if we go back to our instrument here, we can, well, the easiest way I like to find the pitch bend range is under this where it says view. I just flick over to where it says controls, and there we've got right there the pitch bend up. I change that to 12 so you can actually get a whole octave pitch bend. Then switch back to the editor, and then it should be a much bigger pitch bend there. So I'll just switch back to the pitch bend.
This is a really long.
So you can hear that there, and if I wanted to do that here,
This is a really long
sample.
so you can get that kind of winding down effect, you know, or winding up if you want, pitch bending the audio.
This is a really long sample. This is a really long.
So that's how you use the basics of sampling in Logic Pro.